The wife of my intelligence commanding colonel told everyone to call her intern lover her husband. I froze the 320 million yuan deal and filed for divorce from her. Word spread quietly inside the 6th Intelligence Division. Layla was the commanding colonel standing under all the spotlights. Kyle Thorne was merely a technical lieutenant colonel slaving away under her command. The huge military tech building relied on one core asset to keep the whole division running. That asset was never the famous Layla everyone watched. It was Kyle, who deliberately stayed hidden behind the scenes. The committee held a meeting today. Several members questioned my competence indirectly. She rubbed her temples, her voice drained of energy. People gossip privately nonstop. They claim I only got this post because powerful people pulled strings for me. Cal held a flat tablet in one hand. Deep Space Algorithm runtime logs flickered across its screen. He lifted his gaze to look at his wife. His tone stayed soft. I put your name first on every project achievement report. The division will keep delivering solid results. These rumors will fade eventually. Layla stepped forward and rested a hand on his shoulder. Her eyes carried a sincere plea. Kyle, I know I owe you a great deal. Once I fully secure my position, I will reward you handsomely. I cannot let anyone find out about our marriage right now. If people learn my husband built our core algorithm, all our hard work will go to waste. Kyle stared at the woman in front of him. Images flashed through his mind. They met at military academy and advanced side by side for years. He chose to support her ambition. I understand. You do not need to worry about the technical side of things. I will handle every back-end vulnerability and all external pressure single-handedly. You just step forward and take the spotlight. I only dare push forward with you backing me up. Layla whispered the line quietly. The warmth in this moment felt genuine. Kyle chose to trust their years of shared loyalty. He dimmed his own achievements. He handed over all results from 3 years of hard labor to fuel Layla's career rise. He never expected this unreserved trust would turn into a blade aimed straight at him. Odd incidents inside the division piled up one after another. A young intern named Kane arrived with a mediocre resume. He jumped straight onto the core Deep Space Algorithm project team without standard screening. Layla signed all transfer approval paperwork. Unknown user accounts repeatedly logged into core modules late at night through the server backdoor. Division leadership buried every incident internally afterward. Stacks of expense forms marked as project supplies crossed his desk. The receipts actually covered luxury designer goods. Layla's signature sat on every approval slip. Kyle noticed every suspicious detail. He once set all these oddities aside out of marital affection. He covered up every irregularity silently. He clung to a thin thread of hope. He thought Layla only rushed to solidify her rank and would never cross hard lines. A yearly military tech conference for over 200 staff drew near. Senior military officers and partner representatives would fill the venue. This event was Layla's biggest chance to silence all public doubt for good. Kyle finished every system pre-simulation. He hunted down every hidden risk point. He prepared full emergency response protocols. A faint glimmer of hope lingered inside him. He thought the couple could drop their secret charade once the conference wrapped and Layla's position stabilized. He never guessed this highly anticipated summit would tear down every false warm memory between them. The annual military tech conference opened on schedule. Every seat in the venue stayed occupied. All 6th Intelligence Division staff attended. Military leaders and corporate partners filled the front rows. Over 200 pairs of eyes locked onto the stage. This moment would let Layla crush every whisper questioning her credentials. Kyle finished one final round of system checks in the back hallway before the conference kicked off. He sealed every loophole in the presentation backend. He glanced at Layla, who fixed her uniform beside him. He spoke concisely to warn her. The demo system will run stable the entire time. I prepared full emergency protocols. I can fix any technical failure within 1 second if something breaks. Deliver your speech normally. Layla's expression turned cold and distant. All soft warmth from their private talks vanished. Only formal, impersonal chill remained in her voice. Understood. Sit in the back rows only. Do not stand up randomly. You will disrupt the venue order. Kyle's eyes darkened slightly. He did not argue back. Drawing a clear public line between them had become routine over 3 years. This tactic stopped rumors that she advanced through her husband's influence. He swallowed the discomfort building in his chest. He turned and walked toward an empty seat tucked in the far back corner. The conference agenda proceeded step by step. Layla walked onto the stage. She spoke smoothly and sharply. She walked the audience through deep space algorithm implementation outcomes and strategic project value. She claimed full credit for every core achievement on the platform. Warm applause echoed nonstop under the lights. Senior officials in the front row nodded repeatedly. Every spectator believed this outstanding work stemmed purely from her leadership. No one knew the polished speech and stable live demo relied entirely on 3 years of non-stop labor from Kyle. The host invited core project team members on stage for a group photo after her presentation wrapped. The spot reserved for senior technical officers went to Kane, the intern. The young man stood tall. Unbridled ambition glinted in his eyes. He looked jarringly out of place amid veteran military officers. Silence fell across the hall as everyone waited for the photo shot. Layla shifted her body to face Kane. Her fierce, commanding aura melted away instantly. Her tone turned tender and sweet. Microphones carried her words to every corner of the room. "Darling, step closer to me. Do not be nervous." 6 simple words killed all noise in the venue. Not a pin drop could be heard across the 200-person space. Applause and side conversations cut off completely. Senior officers stared in shock. Co-workers from their division wore stunned expressions. Hundreds of curious, gossip-hungry eyes locked onto the pair on stage. Kane stiffened for a split second. A smug grin spread across his face right after. He shifted half a step nearer to Layla. He accepted her open favor without shame. Layla never glanced back at Kyle sitting in the rear rows once. She knew exactly where her husband sat. She still acted this way in front of everyone. She cared nothing for humiliating him publicly. Kyle sat upright in the back row. No emotion showed on his face. He looked completely disconnected from the painful scene unfolding on stage. Only his tightly clenched knuckles betrayed his inner turmoil. A recording device inside his pocket ran steadily. It captured every word from the microphones and the dead silence of the crowd. It stored every ounce of that public humiliation as hard evidence. 3 years of quiet compromise and behind-the-scenes support went unappreciated in an instant. Strangers around him shot him looks filled with pity, mockery, and gossip. Every gaze cut sharp as a blade. Kyle did not stand up to confront them. He did not lose his temper and shout. He held back all embarrassment calmly, and saved every piece of proof. The group photo session ended. The conference dispersed afterward, leaving coworkers threw strange glances his way as they passed. Layla dropped all her stage disguise inside a closed temporary break room. Kyle did not get a chance to speak first. Layla snapped at him immediately. Her brows crinkled with clear irritation. "Your face looked terrible back there. Sitting in the back ruined the whole atmosphere." Kyle lifted his eyes and stared at her coldly. "You called him darling on purpose in front of everyone." He stated the fact plainly. No question mark in his voice. Layla showed zero trace of guilt. She argued back confidently. "I had to do this to kill those rumors forever. Everyone claims I owe my rank to you. I needed to put on a clear show to prove I earned this position on my own. Did you have to trample my dignity to prove it?" Kyle's voice stayed quiet, yet icy cold. "Can you act mature instead of blowing tiny issues out of proportion?" Layla raised her voice, her face filled with disappointment. "This is just workplace flexibility and public image management. You only care about rigid rules and fail to see team-wide priorities." Kyle watched the woman he supported and covered for 3 full years. Her so-called team priorities only served her personal ambition. Her flexible tactics amounted to unprincipled betrayal. The last warm feeling left in his heart froze solid. Layla slammed the break room door shut and left Kyle all alone. The humiliation from the conference weighed heavy on his mind. All suspicious details he once ignored voluntarily linked together now. Kane's irregular transfer approval, unauthorized late-night server logins, and vague luxury expense reports all clicked into place. He could no longer pretend these incidents never happened. Kyle walked straight to the division legal evidence room. This storage space held every full approval trail and permission change record. Military security protocols protected all original files from deletion by any staff member. A legal military officer who worked alongside him for years spotted his arrival. His expression turned serious. "Lieutenant Colonel Thorne, which files would you like to pull?" "All permission modification approvals logged since the deep space algorithm went live. Also every expense file filed after Kane's hire date. Retrieve original unredacted evidence copies." Kyle spoke in a steady, flat tone. He passed security clearance checks. Massive document lists loaded onto the monitor screen. Layla's signature sat on every form that moved Kane into the core project team. Multiple large expense slips billed luxury watches and private jewelry as project supplies. Layla approved every single one of these claims as well. These actions already qualified as severe official misconduct. Yet they were not the most damaging evidence on file. He scrolled further down the page with his mouse. A devastating record popped into view. Full root access authority for the deep space algorithm transferred from Kyle Thorne to Kane 2 months prior. The system log listed a personal access key and Kyle's digital signature as authorization. Kyle's breath caught sharply in his throat. He never submitted any transfer request of this kind. Only physical contact could read the encrypted private key stored on his hardware drive. Layla repeatedly borrowed his encryption device under the pretense of cross-checking project parameters over recent months. He realized she secretly copied his private key and forged his digital signature during those visits. A flaw existed within the division's approval framework. Commanding officers held Level 1 signing authority. The system processed access transfers instantly once a matching key and signature logged in. Layla intentionally delayed and suppressed all follow-up audit reviews afterward. The core algorithm he spent 3 years building slipped away from his ownership without his knowledge. The legal officer read through the full file bundle. His expression turned grave. Sir, copying encryption keys and forging official digital signatures to reassign classified technical access violates military confidentiality statutes outright. I will export encrypted backup copies for you. Kyle gripped the cold storage drive in his palm. Numbness washed over him as he realized every hour of his hard work had been manipulated for someone else's gain. He erased flawed reports, fixed approval mistakes, and cleaned up external communication risks for Layla for 3 years without complaint. Every favor he granted her turned out to be part of a long-planned scheme. He returned to their shared private residence. Every corner of the home carried traces of their past life together. Every memory now reeked of irony. Layla arrived home before him. She sat on the sofa scrolling through a tablet. Irritation lingered from their break-room argument. You're back. Are you still fixated on what happened at the conference? Layla glanced up, her tone exhausted. I thought you would calm down and see reason. The division sits at a critical turning point right now. Stop fixating on trivial, irrelevant issues. Kyle set the encrypted storage drive flat on the coffee table. You copied my private access key and faked my digital signature. You transferred full root authority of the deep space algorithm to Kane. Complete silence filled the room instantly. The casual look on Layla's face faded bit by bit. Her pupils constricted. A split-second flash of panic crossed her features before she forced it down. She adopted a confrontational stance right away. I signed off on that transfer personally. Kane possesses outstanding natural talent. He needs exposure to core modules to build his professional experience. I command this division. I hold full authority to reassign project access permissions. Access reassignment requires explicit consent from the original developer. You stole my encryption key and forged my signature. Kyle kept his gaze locked on her. Layla avoided direct eye contact with him. Her fingers tightened involuntarily. I did this for the 6th Intelligence Division's benefit. We cannot lock critical technical knowledge to a single person. The division cannot stake its entire future solely on you. Grand hollow words covered her true motive. Elevating Kane to strip Kyle of his achievements and neutralize his influence step by step. Kyle chose not to argue further. Her lies wrapped themselves in hollow institutional duty. Debating served no purpose. The plan to fight back took root in his mind in that moment. Blackout curtains hung halfway closed inside his study. No unnecessary decor filled the small room. Rows of server towers hummed low continuous noise. Kyle plugged the encrypted storage drive into his desktop host. Layers of evidence documents filled every inch of the display screen. He had spent 3 years acting as the safety net for Layla's career. Every flawed presentation draft, every careless approval slip, every risky external communication trace that threatened her promotion prospects received silent corrections from him. He rarely voiced any frustration about the workload. Now every trace he once erased quietly became usable, verifiable proof. He decided against filing an official report immediately. Submitting evidence privately would get the case labeled a petty marital dispute. Layla's father, an active senior general, maintained extensive connections throughout military leadership. He would easily bury the whole incident as a domestic disagreement and minimize all consequences. He needed a fully public formal venue to lay out every fact before every relevant project stakeholder for an irreversible outcome. Kyle sorted every piece of evidence methodically. Unalterable server logs tracked every late-night unauthorized core database login by Kane. Each entry listed exact timestamps, access IP addresses, and specific operations completed. The legal team's exported expense bundles included every luxury purchase receipt and bank transfer record sorted and archived separately. The forged access transfer form paired with hardware key access logs proved the key was stolen externally instead of voluntarily shared. He also needed an audio recording that would expose Kane's true intentions to everyone. After gaining stolen access rights, Kane grew overconfident in his control of the deep space algorithm. He mocked Kyle openly to other team members multiple times inside closed technical meeting rooms. Kane claimed Kyle was an old rigid technician who would get pushed aside once Kane mastered the code base. Kyle noticed this hostile rhetoric early on. He installed compliant security recording equipment inside the technical conference room and captured multiple conversations. He pulled up the audio files and slipped on headphones. Kane's arrogant voice echoed clearly through the speakers. This algorithm only looks impressive on paper. Kyle hoards all the credit simply because he built it first. Once I master the underlying code and release an updated iteration, I will become the 6th Intelligence Division's lead technical specialist. Colonel Layla fully supports me. He will step down before long. Cold words struck Kyle's ears over and over. He dragged the audio timeline slider forward and backward. He clipped the critical mocking segments and encrypted them. He bundled all audio with every other evidence file into one archive. He created multiple encrypted backup copies stored across 3 separate hardware drives to eliminate any risk of evidence destruction. A soft knock echoed on the study door. Layla pushed the door open and stood in the entryway. She held a glass of warm water in her hand. Her attitude softened noticeably. She realized how severe the situation became after their earlier fight. She attempted to mend their relationship using past shared affection. Kyle, can we talk this through calmly? She stepped into the study and placed the water glass on the desk edge. Her tone stayed gentle and level. I admit I used overly extreme methods earlier today, but I truly acted out of concern for the division's interests. Kyle did not turn around. His eyes remained fixed on the computer screen. You were clearing a career path for Kane, not supporting the division. Layla furrowed her brows and took a half step closer. Even if I acted selfishly, we share years of history together. Do you intend to push this matter until there is no way to repair it? Once you submit this evidence, my military career will end completely. Both our lives will be thrown into chaos. No path for compromise existed the second you stole my encryption key and forged my signature. Kyle finally twisted his head to face her. No anger showed on his face. Only complete emotional detachment. You craved authority, and I helped you earn it. You craved rank and recognition, and I willingly erased my own contributions to lift you up. You should never have stolen the technical work I poured my heart into and handed it to another person. I never planned to take your work away entirely. Layla spoke faster, rushing to defend herself. I only let Kane study and learn from it. He will still leave an important position open for you once he gains experience. We can continue working as a frontstage and backstage team just like before. Kyle pulled a faint bitter smile across his lips. You want me to keep hiding in the background and watch you gift my research to him? You want me to keep cleaning up all your mistakes for both of you? Layla paled instantly after he laid bare her hidden plan. She forced herself to keep arguing. Why do you have to state everything so harshly? Spouses are supposed to make sacrifices for each other. Can't your skills and hard work make space for my career advancement? This single line revealed her core mindset entirely. In her view, Kyle's talent, labor, and sacrifices existed solely to serve her personal ambition. Kyle stopped responding to her words. He refocused his attention back to the monitor screen. His body language made a clear divide between them. He refused to waste more energy on a pointless negotiation. Layla stood motionless and stared at his unyielding back. She knew persuasion would not work anymore. A dark glint crossed her eyes briefly. She abandoned further attempts to reconcile and exited the study silently. The study door closed, leaving the room quiet once more. Kyle understood Layla would not wait passively for consequences. The regular project staff meeting scheduled next week became the perfect chance to reveal all proof. All division commanding officers, core technical staff, and external partner supervisors would attend that session. It served as the ideal public stage to expose every hidden truth. He double-checked every piece of evidence one final time. He verified all documents and audio recordings remained intact and unaltered. He sought no private revenge and had no desire to vent personal resentment. He only intended to lay every covered-up fact out plainly for every witness present. 3 years of silent compromise reached its end. He would no longer step back quietly for anyone's gain. The regular project staff meeting opened on schedule. The medium-sized conference room filled with personnel, 6th Intelligence Division technical specialists, mid-tier military officers, and partner project supervisors filled every seat. A 320 million yuan collaborative project stood at a critical implementation stage. Everyone gathered to align progress timelines and review next stage scheduling. Layla occupied the main head seat at the conference table. She wore a crisp military uniform and regained her usual confident, dominant bearing. Kane sat immediately to her right. His seat ranked higher than any other intern's position by a wide margin. Thick stacks of documents covered the table space in front of him. He carried the demeanor of lead technical developer for the entire project. Kyle leaned back in a chair at the far end of the conference table. A laptop sat open in front of him. He maintained a neutral blank expression and waited for the meeting to begin. Layla spoke first in a steady controlled tone and took charge of the entire session. Kane will lead all ongoing updates to the revised deep space algorithm iteration. Kane, please walk everyone through the code optimization progress next. Kane sat up straight and seized the speaking floor. Undeniable pride shone on his face. He held illegally transferred core access rights and falsely believed he fully mastered the full underlying framework. He spoke at length to the crowd and outlined countless hypothetical system improvement plans. Logical gaps appeared in his presentation less than 10 minutes in. He described core baseline parameters with vague, confused wording. Several senior technical officers exchanged subtle glances and grew suspicious. The algorithm's underlying architecture held extreme complexity. No intern could fully master its structure within only 2 months. Kane rushed to cover up his unclear explanations. He prepared to launch a live simulation demo of his updated version. The projection screen suddenly flooded bright red with warning text. Lines of critical error notifications scrolled rapidly across the display. The server cluster emitted sharp continuous alarm sounds. Commotion erupted instantly across the conference room. What is happening? The partner supervisor leaned forward sharply with an angry expression. Kane clicked his mouse and hammered keyboard keys frantically in a failed attempt to repair the system. Every new input generated more error alerts. He altered critical root-level code on his own to build a revised version for personal credit. His technical foundation could not match his overinflated ambition. His edits crashed the entire core module completely. This is only temporary system fluctuation. Minor glitches pop up occasionally on the test environment. Kane's forehead beaded with sweat as he scrambled to invent an excuse. Layla squeezed her fingers tight under the conference table. Her face darkened. Yet she still chose to defend Kane. This is merely a test environment malfunction. The technical team will locate and fix the issue afterward. Let us move forward with the rest of the agenda. This is not a simple test glitch. Kyle's calm voice cut through all noise in the room. He spoke softly yet overpowered every side conversation instantly. Every pair of eyes turned toward him. Layla frowned hard. Kyle, we are holding official business meeting right now. Leave system troubleshooting to the technical team, and do not interrupt the agenda. Kyle ignored her interruption and tapped one key on his laptop. His device linked its video feed directly to the conference room projection system. Since the system failed, let us examine what lies behind this breakdown. The first file loaded onto the large screen. Uneditable server backend login logs. Clear timestamps listed every late-night unauthorized core database access attempt made by Kane. These server access records cover the last 2 months. A single intern repeatedly logged into top-secret algorithm root modules after midnight. This action counts as severe security violation per division safety regulations. Gasps of shock echoed around the conference room. Kane's face turned pale white instantly. He opened his mouth to offer counterarguments. Yet Kyle loaded the next batch of evidence before he could speak. Images of expense slips spread across the projection surface. Forms labeled project supply costs covered luxury watches and high-end personal jewelry instead of work materials. Layla's signature appeared on every approval form. Large volumes of non-work-related personal spending submitted under project expense codes. All approval steps bypassed mandatory secondary financial audits. Layla's expression turned completely cold. She spoke sharply in a raised voice. These are internal division approval matters unsuitable for public discussion in a full team meeting. This next document holds the most critical evidence of all. The projection shifted to display the Access Authority transfer form. Stolen encryption key records and the forged digital signatures sat fully visible to everyone. I independently developed the full deep space algorithm. I never signed or authorized this access transfer application. My private encryption key was copied and stolen, and my digital signature forged. Full core classified technical access rights moved to Kane through illegal channels. Silence blanketed the room after this statement. Before the audience could process this revelation, an audio clip began playing through the room's speakers. Kane's mocking voice came through loud and clear. The recording captured private comments where he belittled Kyle and plotted to seize his position. Kyle only gets credit because he finished development first. Once I master the full code base, I will take over as 6th Intelligence Division's lead technical expert. Colonel Layla supports me fully. He will be pushed aside soon enough. Kane stiffened all over. All traces of smug confidence vanished from his face. You recorded audio illegally. This evidence cannot hold up officially. He shouted the objection out loud in panic. The recording equipment sits inside the technical conference room as authorized security surveillance hardware. The division legal department notarized every original audio file bundle. Kyle responded flatly, and shifted his gaze toward the ashen-faced Layla. You altered root-level code on your own after gaining stolen access rights. Your edits triggered today's full-core module collapse. The direct fallout. The partner's 320 million yuan project funding trigger clauses have activated, and all disbursements suspended. The partner's supervisor shot upright in his seat. Furious. Can core system access change hands without strict oversight like this? Random unapproved code edits crashed project stability entirely. We must submit a full formal incident report to upper management. Layla sat at the main conference table. All her usual commanding authority drained away completely. She predicted Kyle would retaliate against her. She never imagined he would present every piece of evidence openly in front of every relevant stakeholder without leaving any room for negotiation. Kane sat rigid in his chair, eyes wide with panicked confusion. He lost all control of the situation. Every person in the room viewed the 3 categories of evidence, then glanced back at Layla seated at the head table and the flustered Kane beside her. Everyone pieced together the complete timeline of misconduct without further explanation. The shiny, flawless public image the 6th Intelligence Division maintained for 3 years shattered entirely in this single moment. Chaos lingered inside the conference room. Heavy, steady footsteps suddenly echoed from the doorway. A senior general wearing full flag officer uniform walked straight into the room. Bright gold stars decorated his shoulder boards. He carried the natural oppressive aura of someone accustomed to absolute authority. Every noisy conversation and note-taking action stopped instantly. All standing staff froze in place, no one daring to make another sound. This man was Layla's father, active senior military command. Every attendee understood his arrival meant one thing. He planned to use his rank and connections to pressure everyone into burying the scandal. A faint flicker of relief lit up Layla's eyes. Her rigid shoulders relaxed at once. She lost all confidence once her misconduct came to light. Her father's political influence remained her only lifeline. She stood up immediately, her tone shaky with suppressed hurt. Father. General Laird lifted one hand to cut off her speech. His gaze swept every person in the room before settling firmly on Kyle. He spoke with overbearing, condescending authority typical of high-ranking superiors issuing orders. Simple personal relationship conflict blown up in front of a full crowd. You disrupted project progress and division order over trivial marital frustration. This behavior strikes me as extremely immature. He framed the severe misconduct, classified technology theft, and abuse of authority as nothing more than petty couple quarrels from the very start. His manipulation tactic felt polished and ruthless. Lieutenant Colonel Thorne, you and Layla have been married 3 years. You know each other's personalities fully. I understand young couples clash and hold grudges against each other. But you cannot blur work and personal boundaries and sabotage the entire 6th Intelligence Division's project priorities over a personal argument. General Laird pressed forward with unshakable authoritative pressure. Retract all submitted evidence immediately and shut down this public presentation of records. We will resolve this privately between the 3 of us. I will overlook everything that transpired today if you comply. You will retain your position as Core Division Technical Staff with unchanged pay and military grade. This speech masked threats behind superficial appeasement. He dangled promotions and stable career benefits as bait while wielding institutional collective priorities to force Kyle to swallow all betrayal and humiliation to preserve Layla's reputation and military path. No staff member dared utter a single word in response. Everyone assumed the general's direct intervention would erase the entire incident without meaningful punishment. Nobody believed a mid-tier technical lieutenant colonel would openly defy an active senior military general. Kyle showed zero sign of backing down. His gaze stayed calm and upright, untouched by the weight of the general's political power. General Laird, I maintain a clear line separating personal matters and official military duty. His voice stayed quiet, yet every word carried unwavering resolve without the slightest hint of timidity. Nothing I presented today stems from private marital conflict. Every piece of proof documents verifiable official misconduct, classified technology leakage, and abuse of military authority. Kyle tapped his laptop to reactivate the projection screen and display all evidence files once again. He laid out his points logically step by step without gaps or contradictions. First, Layla misused commanding officer authority to approve irregular accelerated transfers for an unqualified intern. She permitted repeated illegal late-night back-end system logins without punishment, which counts as abuse of official power. Second, she approved private luxury personal expenses billed as project costs to divert official funding, violating military financial discipline. Third, she stole classified encryption keys, forged official military digital signatures, and illegally transferred core classified algorithm authority to an unrelated intern. This act constitutes severe classified technology theft and critical military regulation violations. 3 distinct violations, each fully supported by concrete proof, fell entirely under institutional misconduct regulations. His statement completely eliminated the general's attempt to label the scandal a private domestic dispute. General Laird's face darkened sharply. Anger clouded his facial features. He never expected the normally reserved, accommodating Kyle to stand firm against him publicly and dismantle every one of his negotiation excuses. Do you intend to dwell on these minor procedural oversights and destroy your wife's career along with division-wide stability? General Laird spoke in a cold, harsh tone, delivering his final pressure attempt. Do you not understand collective institutional priorities? Collective priorities do not exist to shield corrupt official conduct. Kyle held his gaze steady against the general without any retreat. True institutional priorities require strict military discipline, protection of classified technical assets, and full safeguarding of military project stability. If we overlook and excuse this misconduct today, more classified military technology will leak in the future. That outcome would truly destroy our division's core mission. Every sharp sentence followed unbreakable logic, leaving General Laird no room for rebuttal. Layla stood beside her father, her skin pale as paper, overcome with full panic. She originally believed her father's rank and influence would easily suppress all public exposure. Yet Kyle's airtight evidence and unyielding reasoning eliminated every chance of a quiet settlement. She rushed forward, speaking with a tearful tone in a last-ditch effort to reverse the situation. Kyle, I admit all my mistakes. I can reverse every access transfer and refund all misused expense funds. Let us settle this matter privately. Please, do you intend to push me to total ruin? Kyle shot one brief glance in her direction. No anger, regret, or pity lingered in his eyes, only total emotional apathy. No private resolution remained possible the moment you forged my signature to steal my core technical research. General Laird stared at Kyle, who refused to yield despite conclusive evidence on full display for dozens of official witnesses. He recognized verbal threats would no longer work. No matter how extensive his political connections, he could not openly cover up 3 proven severe regulation violations in front of a full room of civilian and military witnesses. Forcing a cover-up would trigger backlash targeting his own military standing. His overbearing authoritative aura vanished completely, replaced by deep-shadowed malice in his eyes. The power dynamic shifted entirely out of his control. Kane watched Layla and her father fail to suppress the evidence, and realized he would bear the full weight of all penalties alone. Mad, vicious rage flared inside his mind. If no one would protect him, he would expose every hidden lie from both Layla and her father without restraint.